Here's something nobody talks about. That moment when someone checks their phone while you're talking, your brain registers it the same way it registers actual abandonment. Crazy, right? And if you've ever felt like you're too much or not enough, or if you're afraid people will leave, or if you leave before they can leave you, this isn't random. Today, we're unpacking where abandonment wounds come from, why they run your life in ways you don't even realize, and most importantly, how to heal them for good. I'm sharing the science, the real talk, and the hope. Let's go. Hey there, and welcome back to Hope Regained. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're new, welcome. I'm your host, Christiane Boudreau, and you just found your people. Today, we're diving into abandonment wounds, where they come from, why they're running your life in ways you don't even realize. And here's the hope part, how to actually heal them, not just manage them or cope with them, but genuinely heal. I'm going to share some neuroscience, a lot of real talk, some stories, and most importantly, a path forward, because you deserve to feel secure. You deserve to believe that people can stay, and you deserve relationships that don't feel like walking on a tightrope over an inactive volcano. So grab your coffee, tea, or emotional support beverage of choice, which mine is usually wine. And let's do this together. Let's talk about first what abandonment wounds actually are. This is the basic part. What is it? Think of it like this. An abandonment wound is an emotional injury that happens when someone important to you, physically or emotionally, isn't there when you need them. And here's what makes it really tricky. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It's not always the parent who left and never came back. Sometimes it's the parent who was physically present, but emotionally checked out. The one who was there at dinner, but couldn't handle your feelings. The friend who ghosted you. Or there's always the partner who was all in until suddenly they weren't. Your brain, specifically your nervous system, experiences these as threats to your survival. Because when you're young, attachment literally equals survival. And if the people who are supposed to care for you can't be counted on, your brain goes into full threat mode. And here's the kicker. Your brain doesn't forget. It creates these neural pathways, these automatic responses to protect you from ever feeling that pain again. Now, years later, when someone texts back a little slower than usual, or seems distracted, or sometimes just needs space, your brain hits the alarm code. Red, we've been here before, abort mission. And suddenly you're not responding to what's actually happening in the present. You're responding to the echo of every time someone left before. That's an abandonment wound. It's your nervous system trying to keep you safe based on old information. Just so we're clear, having these wounds doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. It means your brain did exactly what it was designed to do, protect you. The question now is, how do we update the software? Stick with me, because in just a few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest signs that abandonment wounds are running your relationships. And some of these might really surprise you. Let's talk about origins, because understanding where this comes from is actually part of the healing. Abandonment wounds typically develop in a few key ways. The first one you'll notice is actual physical abandonment. A parent who's left, a death, a divorce where you lost access to someone important in your life. This is the most obvious one, and it's heartbreaking. Your developing brain needed consistency, and instead, you got absence. Another one that's a little bit harder to see and pick up on is emotional abandonment. And this is the one people often don't even recognize. This is the parent who was there, but unavailable, checked out. Somebody who probably couldn't handle emotions, especially yours, who shut down when things got really tough, or who was dealing with their own stuff. It could have been addiction, mental health struggles, or even their own trauma. And they just didn't have the capacity for you. Maybe your feelings were dismissed. Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. I'm sure we've all heard that once or twice. And maybe you learned that being upset meant being alone. Maybe love felt conditional, only there when you performed well, looked right, or acted right. Another one is inconsistent caregiving. And this one messes with your head because sometimes they were amazing and sometimes they were unavailable and you never knew which version you were going to get. This creates what psychologists call anxious attachment. You're always scanning, always trying to predict, and always on edge, like walking on eggshells. Then there's trauma and loss. Losing someone important to death, especially early in life. Moving frequently is another one, and losing friend groups, or being rejected and bullied, relationship betrayals. Each of these can layer on top of earlier wounds. And here's something important. It's not about blame. Most people who caused abandonment wounds were doing the best they could with what they had. And many of them were carrying their own wounds. But here's what's also true. Understanding doesn't mean it didn't hurt. And your pain is valid, even if it wasn't intentional. And here's the hope part. You can heal from something even when it wasn't your fault. You can rewrite that story that your nervous system is telling. So there are 5 signs out there that you're carrying those particular wounds. So let's get practical about it right now. How do you know if abandonment wounds are affecting you? Here are 5 major signs. Now, remember, no judgment. This is all about self-awareness. We thrive on self-awareness here at Hope Regained. So honesty with yourself is really important because that's the only way we're going to grow. Sign number 1 is you're hyper vigilant about people leaving. You read into absolutely everything. A delayed text means they're pulling away. A canceled plan means they don't care. Or someone seems quieter than usual, and you're already writing the breakup speech in your head. Does that sound familiar? I know that I always struggled with somebody else's quietness, per se. You might constantly ask, are we okay? Or are you mad at me? What's wrong? You've heard that one before too. You're always scanning for proof that people are about to leave. And ironically, this can actually push people away, creating the very thing you fear. Sign number 2, you self-sabotage relationships. And boy, was I good at this one. This is the leave before they can leave you pattern. Things are going well, and suddenly you pick a fight. You pull away, or you find reasons why it just won't work. Or maybe you choose people on purpose who are unavailable emotionally, physically, or otherwise. Because if they can't fully commit, you never have to risk being fully abandoned. It's like your brain says, if I control the ending, at least it won't blindside me. Sign number 3, you're either a people pleaser or you're completely walled off. You might shapeshift to be whatever you think people want, abandoning your own needs to avoid abandonment. Or you've gone the complete opposite direction. You've built walls so high that no one can get close enough to even hurt you. Sometimes you swing between both, desperate for connections one minute, running for the hills the next. Sign number 4, you struggle with your sense of self. Because if you learned early that you had to be a certain way to be loved, you might not even know who you are without someone else's approval. Your opinions, preferences, even your emotions might shift based on who you're with. You're like an emotional chameleon because being yourself just didn't feel safe. Sign number 5 is you have an intense fear of rejection. Sure, let's face it, we all don't like rejection, and some of us fear it even a little bit. It shows up everywhere. But if you don't share your real thoughts, because what if they judge you? Or you don't go for your opportunities because what if I fail? Or you don't express your needs because what if it's too much and they leave? You've made yourself small to minimize the risk of rejection. Think about that for a minute. If you're listening and recognizing yourself in these patterns, first, breathe. You're not alone. Second, this awareness, this is actually the first step of healing. And speaking of healing, we're about to get into the practical steps. But first, let me tell you why these patterns keep showing up in your relationships. Understanding is the first part to learning so that you can heal. Here's the fascinating and frustrating part. Abandonment wounds don't stay in the past. They show up in your present relationships in really predictable ways. Remember those neural pathways I mentioned? Your brain literally wired itself for survival based on early experiences. And now those same pathways are activated in adult relationships. Psychologists call this repetition compulsion. We unconsciously, that's your subconscious, recreate familiar dynamics, even painful ones, because at least they're familiar. Your nervous system prefers a known danger to an unknown anything. So you might find yourself attracted to people who are emotionally unavailable because that's what love felt like growing up. Inconsistent, conditional, and just plain out of reach. Or you attract partners who are secure and available, and it feels just wrong, boring, like something's missing because your system is literally wired for chaos and unpredictability. Here's another pattern. You might push away the very intimacy that you're craving. Someone gets close and suddenly you feel suffocated. They want to know you, really know you. And every alarm in your system is going off because vulnerability equals danger in your system's dictionary. Or there's the opposite. You cling, you merge, you lose yourself in a relationship because being alone feels like death. And here's what makes this so hard. These responses become automatic. They're not conscious choices. They're survival mechanisms running in the background. But, and this is crucial, automatic does not mean permanent. Your brain is neuroplastic. It can learn new patterns. You can build new neural pathways where security feels safe, where intimacy doesn't equal danger, where you trust that people can actually stay. It takes work, it takes time, and it takes intention. But it's absolutely possible. That's where we're heading next. So here is the healing roadmap. We're finally going to talk about real, deep, lasting healing. Step number 1 is awareness and acknowledgement. Again, I can't say it enough. Here at Hope Regained, the best way to move forward and grow into the happiest life that you can is to be very self-aware and acknowledge everything that is you. You've already started by listening today. So name it out loud. I have abandonment wounds. Say it without shame. Say it without judgment. This is just information about your nervous system. Journal about it. When did these wounds start? Look back. Who was involved? What did you learn about love, about yourself, about relationships? Don't filter it. This is just for you. Just write it. Step number 2. And I know I say this a lot because it's important about rediscovering that love for life. Practice self-compassion. This is huge. The way you abandon yourself through negative self-talk or ignoring your needs and settling for less, it often mirrors how you were abandoned. Healing means showing up for yourself the way you needed others to show up for you. Talk to yourself like you'd talk to your best friend and meet your own needs. Keep promises to yourself. They're important too. And here's a practice. Put your hand on your heart and say, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. You're safe with me. Do this daily, especially when you're feeling activated. Step number 3, reparenting your inner child. That younger version of you that was hurt, well, they're still inside you, holding those wounds. And they need you to be the safe, consistent, loving presence they didn't have. When you feel abandoned or rejected, ask, how old do I feel right now? Usually it's young, 5 or 7 or 10 years old. That's your inner child being triggered. Visualize that younger you. What do they need? Maybe they just need to be held or to be told they're loved no matter what. To hear it wasn't your fault or you deserved better. Give them that. This isn't silly. This is neuroscience. You're literally rewiring your attachment system. Step number 4, challenge your stories. Your brain tells stories. Everyone leaves, or I'm too much, or love isn't safe. These feel like facts, but they're just interpretations based on old data. When you notice these thoughts, pause. Ask, is this actually true? Or is this my wound talking? What evidence contradicts this story? Replace the old narrative. Some people have left and some people have stayed. I'm learning to express my needs, and I'm building safety within myself. Step number 5, build secure relationships. This is where the healing really happens. Find people who are consistent, who show up, who can handle your emotions without making them about themselves. Now, this might be a therapist, a support group, or safe friends. I know I've said before, find your tribe. Practice being vulnerable in small doses. Baby steps, remember? Share something real, really, truly real, and notice that the world doesn't end. Step number 6, somatic healing. Trauma lives in your body, not just in your mind. You need body-based practices. Try deep breathing when you're activated. Just grounding exercises are another one. So feel your feet on the floor and name 5 things you can see. It's just a way to bring you back here. And movement, that could be yoga, dancing, or walking. The goal is to teach your nervous system that you're safe in the present moment, even when memories say otherwise. Step number 7, consider professional support. Here's the thing. If these wounds are really deep, therapy can be life-changing. Look for therapists that are trained in attachment or trauma, or I've tried before, EMDR. You'd be surprised. It really works well. And there's absolutely no shame in getting help. In fact, it's a sign of strength. You wouldn't try to reset a broken bone alone, would you? Emotional wounds deserve the exact same care. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel secure and grounded. Other days you're going to spiral right back into old patterns. And that's normal. It's not failure. That's just part of the process. The difference is that now you have tools, and now that you have awareness, and now that you're not just reacting, you're responding. You're choosing. Here's what I want you to know as we close. You are not your wounds. You are not broken. You are not too much, or you're not enough. You are someone who survived something hard, and your brain did exactly what it needed to do to protect you. And now you're doing something incredibly brave. You're choosing to heal. You've been searching for the person who won't abandon you, but the real journey, becoming the person who finally shows up for you. And every time you choose self-compassion over self-criticism, you're healing. Every time you express a need instead of hiding it, you're healing. And every time you stay present instead of running, you're healing. This is the work. And you're doing it right now. Just by being here, by listening, and by being willing to look at these tender places. All right, friends, that's what I have for you today. And I hope this brought you some clarity, some comfort, and most importantly, some hope. Remember, you can download the free From Abandoned to Anchored healing worksheet at www.hoperegained.com/blog. It's got reflection questions, practical exercises, and tools that you can use right away. It always helps to have those notes beside you to work through, to help it stick. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss next week's episode and leave a comment. I read every single one, and I'd really like to hear and understand what landed for you today. Plus, sometimes something you say and offer up can really help support someone else. You're not walking this path alone. There's a whole community here, and we're cheering you on, doing the work alongside you. Until next time, keep choosing hope, keep showing up, and keep healing. You've got this. I believe in you. You're worth it. I'll see you next week.